All right, welcome in to a special edition of Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Talking recruiting here with our guy, Shea Dixon, who is working independently right now. He will have an announcement coming up here in a couple of weeks, but until then, we get our information from Shea, who is working independent. You can follow him on Twitter at Shea Dixon, and he is with us every Wednesday in the studio. Good morning, buddy. How are you?
I wouldn't say I'm working.
Oh. Sorry.
Right?
Yeah, this isn't considered work.
No
This is
disrespect.
fun.
He froze, so I thought the camera froze.
I
was like,
I'm just off, I think, for a
It's
little
an
bit. Taking some
extended
time.
vacation. Yeah.
But I'm giving, this is my hangout. This is my outlet right now.
Sweet.
Rapping with you boys.
You're not hosting local radio anytime soon, are you?
No, it's,
that was not an outlet. That
was
was
a-
stressful.
very fearful, ruined. Nah.
They said, you got any advice? I said, yeah, get a guest every segment.
And I did.
And I looked up, bro, and you had a strong list.
The Kingmaker told me what to do. I went out and did it.
Don't dance on the island by yourself, bro.
Had to call
Always
my
have a
guy.
partner. Always have a partner.
That's what I think T-Bob had said that. He's like, oh, when Jock comes on, he gets someone like every 8 minutes on there talking. Just doesn't talk at all.
Jacques has people during the commercial break.
Yeah, I thought you get some
Catch those on demand. He just doesn't stop.
Yeah, right.
WFB Plus.
Got 2 straight hours for you here today. All right, so recruiting last weekend of visitors on campus, is this going to be it?
Yeah, it's so for
Whoa.
welcome to go.
they pick that up on there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
I might have to go here soon.
Looking for me.
Yep.
Make sure that deadbolt's locked, Noah.
Yeah, we did give out the address today.
Yeah.
I thought Noah worked the door. What's it?
IDs, please.
The dead well, like, so remember in June they had summer camps, official visitors, all that. The whole month of July pretty much is dead, meaning coaches can't go to a school, kids can't come to the school on a visit. And it kind of gives everyone a chance to kind of reset. The same goes for August when everyone's in fall camp. Kids are in fall camp or school or starting football season. So you kind of take another break. The only open window is this weekend. So I think it's like Thursday to Sunday, but they'll have, I don't know exactly what they're calling it, but some sort of Bayou Bash. I think it's Bayou Splash, actually. I think they're doing stuff like at the Rec and going around town, probably going to Kelly's, considered it's less than a mile from campus. He's talked about that a good bit. Kelly's home.
Dude, I ride
Knock,
my
knock,
bike. There are like people like standing outside of his front step, like taking pictures in front of his house. I mean,
That
it's
is a strange move.
Well, he's visible.
yeah. I mean, it was
it's a
almost
pros and
like he
cons.
bought his house too early. You know what I mean? Like before he really understood
that he was living on the
culture.
lakes.
Like, coach, like
Yeah.
you hadn't won a game yet, but you also hadn't lost one.
Yeah.
And for everybody to know where you live, you know, I mean, it was pretty regular where Ogeron and Miles in the last couple of weeks and days, he'd show up to his house and they'd have for sale signs out front. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like with where Kelly is.
Well, what Les was like in the back of Bocage.
Yeah. He was
Oh, it was like in the back
Lakes.
of U Club. So you're
Yeah.
kind of tucked away.
They were tucked away, but I mean, still, you know what I mean?
This is out.
Still people
Well,
would find them.
I guess if you need that less than mile from campus rule to hit, then
I mean, if you're on the
you're on
jogging
the
trail.
lakes. It was that or Tigerland. So which one you want to live in? Less than a
Right.
mile from campus. You take the lakes.
But, yeah, I mean, I know what you mean. Like, this weekend is great for it. You know, for
Yeah, you
recruiting,
can
like, when
if
have
you
that-
want to swing by there, you can. But
Yeah.
so this weekend breaks up, like I said, pretty much a 2-month long dead period, and they'll have double-digit kids, current commits, targets, in-state guys. Shelton Sampson, obviously a big name,
Jordan Matthews on campus.
who's supposed to be there. I'm not sure if Jordan Matthews is set to make it. I haven't looked into that, but I do know that Shelton Sampson was supposed to be there, and he's kind of
Yeah.
one of the big guys. And I think he told Sam Spiegelman that mid-August he would announce a decision. So potentially another 5-star receiver could join the fold, before football season starts. And one of the biggest pieces in Louisiana.
Yeah, no doubt. Hashtag Shelton Stays has been the trending.
Oh,
hashtag.
yeah.
How much is
Wait.
this? Is
No,
Shelton
then it was
Stays?
like Derrick Williams.
Yeah.
Bring Derrick home.
Bring Derrick home.
But the Shelton Sampson hashtag was moving before. Is this having impacts? I mean, is anybody getting any feedback on this? Because it looks like this has kind of become the new trend, at least at LSU's recruiting.
Yeah, I think they probably just kind of try out anything,
Yeah.
try out different
what
things,
sticks.
see what sticks.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do it for a couple really big in-state kids, and that's
What's the latest on Derrick Williams?
committed to Texas, and I think that's, I mean, it was only a few days after Arch Manning committed to Texas that he committed, and he referenced kind of Arch, the impact of Arch, and that ultimately Arch would kind of be the guy on the offense and he would be the guy on the defense. Derrick Williams is the real deal.
Yeah.
Like, this kid can play.
Yeah.
Coming out of Westgate. Obviously, they got Keyshawn Butte out of Westgate, but then, oh gosh, what was his name?
Oh, you talking about
the tight end?
Danny?
Danny,
Danny Lewis?
I was going to say Derrick. Danny Lewis went to Bama this past cycle, so now Derrick Williams, third kid out of there, commits to the Longhorns. I know LSU is going hard. You know, they want to flip him.
Yeah.
And I'd say it's not over because you've still got 6 months to signing day. We don't know how LSU is going to play. If they play well, all of a sudden you're getting some pub out there. We'll see how Texas plays, see how the two recruiting classes come together, and obviously see if Derrick kind of ultimately warms up to the pitch LSU's given of staying home and being third. You know what? New Iberia to here compared to Austin to Baton Rouge is much different in terms of getting family there, and that's why a lot of these kids do stay, because it's not just LSU and all that, but if my whole family can come watch me every game or weekend, or even when I'm not playing, make those trips and it ain't a thing, I think that's a big pitch. So 6 months to go if he's signing in December or however many months, so you've got plenty of time there.
Another name that'll be in town this weekend that seems like a big target for LSU is Tyree Adams.
I love him.
Offensive tackle out of New Orleans. Where does LSU stand right now?
I think in a good spot, and getting him on campus this weekend and kind of being the team, like I said, to host him before the kind of sandwich in between these two dead periods is big. I mentioned before, Ole Miss is on him. I think he's got a Bama offer. Florida's obviously a team that's been on him, but I think when you look at kind of how LSU's setting up on the O-line already, they've knocked down a couple of big dominoes, and now, or kind of I should say, you feel like they're about to knock down a couple of big in-state dominoes with Tyree Adams and Hurd. And it's been very clear that like those two guys are the guys that Brad Davis is going after, the guys that have offers in hand and have been kind of pressed from the spring to now, and both have. I'm not sure about Tyree if he would shut things down before his senior year, but Hurd at Neville has talked about it. They're at Aug and Neville, so two of the biggest schools, best programs in Louisiana, and fit the mold of what Kelly wants. And look, we saw them recently get Paul Mabenga as an offensive lineman out of Georgia. A couple of other guys they've kind of trended with outside the state. But these two guys, I think, would give you 3 O-linemen if you get them in the boat and give you the two best guys in Louisiana. So I think they've made Adams a priority, just like they have Hurd over the past few months.
Over the last couple of days, we've heard Macho Stevenson's name start to pop up a little bit from North Louisiana. He's another defensive back from here in state. He'll be in town on Saturday. Where is LSU at with him?
I mean, a guy they're obviously evaluating. You're still looking forward to, I think, senior seasons with a lot of these guys. So Macho Stevenson is a kid at Captain Shreve, like you said, who's a DB in-state. Hasn't really shattered through that Power 5 ceiling of, like, I think Texas Tech, where he's committed, was one of his biggest offers. But you want to get into, often if you can, that first month of high school football. And look, there's multiple kids, I would say, in the state that they're keeping an eye on that are going to be seniors that you say, all right, we've seen all their film, we've dropped by their high school and watched them, we've talked with their coaches, we know kind of what kind of player they are, what kind of kid they are, but how do they look as a senior? And that's kind of the most recent thing you can go off on before kids step onto a campus. So usually about a month in, you'll see LSU, a lot of schools, suddenly hand out a few offers, and it's because they've gotten about a month worth of film under their belt. So we'll see, I guess, if they press for him before. I guess I'd be a little surprised, but they would know something and feel good about it. I would bet they'd want to watch a little bit of the senior year, do so with the same for a lot of guys that you've got on your corner board or your DB board, and move forward from there.
Where are they? Where are they in the defensive backfield as far as the board goes?
I mean, I really liked the addition of Ashton Stamps, and he can play some DB in a couple spots for you. But I think he could play corner at this level in the SEC. He's a kid out of Rummel. Rummel has produced some good players for LSU. It seems like he's set to have a really big senior year. There were times last year where he was the best player on the field, and Rommel plays a lot of very good teams. So he came to camp in June, probably like 3 or 4 different times, just working out. Finally got the offer from the staff. And technically, I think he is the lowest ranked, or would be one of the lowest ranked commits they have out of like 15, 16 guys. But I probably like him in the top quarter of the guys they've gotten so far. They went out to Las Vegas and got a corner in Jeremiah Hughes, and he plays at obviously a big school, Bishop Gorman. If even a casual recruiting fan, if you know one school in Nevada, it would be Gorman. So they've produced a ton of D1 guys. The current staff member was on that Gorman staff, so has some familiarity with Hughes, but he's coming off an injury last year, so I think a lot of people are interested to see kind of how he fares as a senior and being healthy again. And then they have those 2 safeties, Ryan Yates and Michael Doherty. Doherty out of Georgia, Yates out of Texas. Yates has been kind of like, Doherty hasn't been looking around. Yates has been making, Dalen Austin, another corner they have committed out in California, has been kind of making some visits. So it's something to keep an eye on. I think Michigan State got a visit from him. But you've got a bunch of guys like I just mentioned right there. A corner from California, a corner from Vegas, a potential corner, Nash and Stamps from Louisiana already. You've already got 2 safeties, Yates and Doherty committed. So that's 5 guys. You're sitting on the defensive backfield. That's why I think with guys like Macho and others, you kind of wait and see, all right, how's the board stacking up, and are we ready to press?
What's the latest on Jordan Matthews?
Nothing new there, really. I think LSU kind of slow played that.
Too much.
In the beginning. I don't think they are now.
Yeah, right. But too slow in the front to make up now?
I don't think it's too slow to make up, but I just think if you're being fair about how you're evaluating the situation of like, it seems like they're kind of on him now, but he's looking at other schools. I think other schools probably prioritized him earlier. Mm-hmm. And they changed staffs. You're kind of getting used to everything, settled in, and dominoes just sort of fall that way sometimes. But with how hard they're recruiting Ricky Collins, Marcus Randall's the head coach. You're in Baton Rouge. You're not going to have a lack of opportunity to try to get Jordan Matthews.
Absolutely. Will Burton, hashtag Ask Shea. Shea, any update on Caden Jones, who is from De La Salle?
Yeah, he's probably the third or another O-lineman after Hurd and Adams in the state that I think you talk about, because the old staff offered him, and that was like Brad Davis's first week on the job. But at the time, he was at camp, and he had only played a year of football. So
wow.
Now he's got another year under his belt. You look at him as a senior. He's a basketball kid. He's got really good measurables, and he probably has as good as measurables as Hurd and Adams do. So, a big kid, long, moves well, 100% someone that Brad Davis is in talks with. They've had him to campus a couple of times. So he's a guy, too, I think I would watch as a senior. And if it's like, whoa, we need to go ahead and push and take him, then he's another alignment I would watch.
Being in Georgia last week, I was reading some of the recruiting updates in the AJC, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and talking to some of the people on the ground that cover recruiting.
Did you talk to the Ojulari?
No, I didn't talk to one of his guys. But they were talking about Paul Mubanga up there, who is kind of very similar to what you just described, somebody that's very raw and just started playing football. And they believe it was going to be down the road, it was going to be a steal for LSU to be able to get him.
I think he'll be a really good guard for him. I think he could play tackle if you need him to, but he's ranked as a guard. He's got good size. He's not, overweight. He's really, he's a soccer kid.
Yeah.
That's having to now put on weight to play football. So if the preaching that Brian Kelly does about development, and certainly we've seen it on the O-line at Notre Dame, I think guys like Mubanga are perfect for that. Everyone I've asked to, kind of who does rankings and knows about the kids and has seen everybody else that's out there, was that's a good ad for LSU.
No doubt. LGZ says, hashtag Ask Shea, any word on Kylan Jackson? The safety out of Zachary?
Nothing new. I'd say they had kind of maybe pressed. I wouldn't say they ever really slow played Kylan or fell behind there. I think he just kind of took things slow, didn't rush his recruitment. there is no shortage of coaches rolling through Zachary in the offseason, checking him out. So he picked up offers. I like him. I think, again, I'd love to see as a senior kind of how much more he progresses, but I think he's a top 10 level. You know, when you look at guys who are a top 10 ranked safety out there, typically he's so far kind of fits that mold of guy. And I think that's kind of where his ranking is. I could look it up, but it's in that range, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But someone they're recruiting, it's just look, they've got 5 DBs committed. Keep going, but some are from California. You know, does he stick or does he go somewhere else? You know, do they make other offers? I think it'll be the DB board will be interesting to see how it plays out because we're watching it play out for the first time without Corey Raymond too. You know, this is true. For the first time we're seeing corners and safeties kind of being recruited by different folks. And for he was here a decade.
Hashtag Ask Shea, Jordan Haydad, Nicholas Harbor.
Yeah, he's supposed to be taking an official. So he's the kid that is like the big 5-star D lineman that like broke like track. You know, remember he was like running like the 100 and 200 and was like
he plays receiver and defensive end.
Monster.
That's a monster.
6'5", 225. I think we read this off last time. Here you go. And he ran a 10.3 this offseason.
My God.
LSU doesn't have anyone in their class that can run a 10.3 let alone a 6'5", 225. You know, that's super rare. So he's ranked as the number 1 athlete in the country and top 10 overall 5-star.
I don't think you need this expert to tell you that. My goodness.
Nope, you just kind of figure that one out. But there was talks about him taking an official. I don't know if he's taken any yet. Let's see. I'll give you the rundown here in a second. But yeah, he's someone they're definitely on. Jamar Cain will be going after him until the kid signs with someone. He's just that kind of player. And we've already seen Cain have success kind of around the country with guys at OU. You have to recruit nationally, which is where he was previously. So he's no stranger to going out and selling a program that's, you know, not next door. And a kid like this is kind of looking all over, you know, with his options. Let's see what the
10 to 800 meter dash.
Yeah, that's heavy.
27.2 in the 200.
3.8 GPA.
Where's he from?
Washington, D.C.
Okay, so right now the pick prediction machines kind of favor Michigan, LSU, Maryland would be considered 3 of the big teams with chances. Maryland obviously being
is he at St. Fred? Is he
the
at
DC Connect, Archbishop Carroll.
Okay.
But yeah, 3.8 GPA, 100 meter, 10.3, 21.36, 200 meter as a sophomore. His sister went to Penn State, but I don't know if they're too much in the mix.
He's got to play basketball, huh?
Football
yeah, let's see.
I mean,
you would think football and track probably then is what he's most up to. 17 sacks last year.
He's got to be hell in high school football.
I'm watching it, and it's not fair.
I mean, that is
he's
like
shoving,
Curse,
he's
bro.
just shoving kids down. He straight up just took the ball from the quarterback and took it back to the house for a touchdown. Like, this is, I mean, obviously in high school it's different.
Sure.
But, I mean, this plays anywhere.
Right.
He had the June 24th, so like right before the dead period ended this summer, or began this summer, I should say. He took a visit to Miami, an official. That was his only one. And his only scheduled one is the LSU Auburn game, which I think that's like early October.
Last week of September.
I think it's early October, yeah.
Is October 1st?
So he'll be on campus.
Wow. LGZ said he's going to run track in college too, wherever he goes. He better with numbers like that. I saw that, I don't know how much you follow this stuff, but one service shook up their ESPN, Luganville and that crew shook up their rankings.
What kind of movement? What
after the Selma?
Notable? Oh, I saw Arch isn't one.
Arch is not the number one. He's not the number one player.
I won't be surprised if they're not the last
to make the move.
To make that move.
And he mentioned because of the, because of the camp circuit, a lot of those guys got out and competed this summer and were able to kind of make the move. They said the one that made the biggest jump was Eli Holstein.
He's a good player.
I mean, just because they weren't able to get as much film, they were explaining that like he had, obviously the pandemic, kind of hurt him a little bit, but he traveled this summer, and the film on him last season is fantastic.
I think here's here's kind of what I'll give you as my 2 cents from talking to people around the industry and coaches, kind of about Arch in the discussion. Because remember, Mike Farrell went viral when he was like he'd be a 3-star,
Right,
which is like totally ridiculous.
Right.
So everybody that I've asked, no one says that he wouldn't be a top 50 overall prospect, top few quarterback. We're not talking about like dude being totally overrated. Like he'd be top 10 or top 15 overall if his last name was something else. Like very, very good quarterback. Top 50 is what most people say. So I'll give you kind of what the consensus feel for that would be. Freshman year, so he's got 10 games played, 7 games played. So, or at least that's what his max prep is showing. 65% passer, 66% passer, then he dips down to 62% passer. Threw for 34-6 his first year, 28-8 his second year, 17-4 his third year.
What, did he get hurt last year?
Numbers just dip.
He's got nobody to throw to.
So
he lost his cat.
I think if people were saying if his last name weren't Manning or he's from wherever, if your resume is you've got 3 years as a starter, but not insane numbers. I mean, he threw for his freshman year was his best, but so kind of each year as the numbers have come down a little bit. You're playing at a small school that doesn't play. You're not playing like lights out competition every Friday night. You haven't made, not like you've won a bunch of state championships. It's not like you. I don't even know if they've made it past like the second or third round. I don't think they've been in the semis yet. Hadn't been knocking on the door for a state title, and you didn't go to a single camp. Most people who are ranking and doing evaluations, the guys that they're willing to say, okay, I put a 5-star on him, let alone number 1 overall, like you've got this extensive, and I've seen him play a bunch. He's been to camps. We've got him measured. Like we know what he runs. We know what he does here. And there's all these boxes that ultimately you would check. Granted, for Arch, and I don't think they care about any of this, the Mannings at all, if he was number 1 or wasn't, like whatever. But he's been by design, just all he does is play football. And he plays basketball, but plays Friday nights, doesn't go out and play 7-on-7, doesn't go out and do all these events, all that. And that's fine, but it's other guys do, and you get more of a sample size of them. And then Malachi Nelson, who's committed to Lincoln Riley at USC, or Iam Olivo's, at Tennessee has got kind of some buzz around him. I can name other quarterbacks who I'd have to think about it for a second, who would kind of be up there. Dante Moore, I don't know if Holstein and them would be that high, or Dante Moore, but let's say Malachi Nelson, Iam Olivo, those guys. They've seen these guys so much to where they were like, I'm more convinced this guy's better, but he's got the main. You've already put him at 1. I thought it was. I didn't hear anything about the ESPN rankings other than that, and it was from other rankings people to college coaches being like, "Hey, did you see that?" And like, good on, like, not knocking the kid, but like someone had to do that, right? Because
send a message.
Not that. It's just that every year, whoever gets ranked number 1, like so much about them and have seen them so many times that I think people just consider it. I think people are like, I've seen enough to think that somebody else could be better.
Yeah. Hashtag Ask Shea. How many spots do you think LSU fills with freshmen this year now that they will be dealing with the unlimited transfer rule?
Well, they split 15-15 like down the middle this past time between transfers and high school kids. And Brian Kelly has said very straightforward multiple times that was kind of a roster fix issue. For a future in development, we want to do heavier on high school kids, patch here and there with some transfers. And they would also consider, I think in a way, I don't know, Whit Weeks is West Weeks, Fields, the kid was like, if you went somewhere and you were for 1 year and you took a red shirt, you're almost still like a high school kid. Like you've got 4 years left of college. Right. So I think they'll always be heavier on that. High school kids, those first year maybe transfers, and then here and there with the kind of grad transfers and older guys. But I mean, what if you can take 25 plus 7, I guess, are the current rules, and 32, I would say that into the 20s, close to 25 high school kids, and then 5, 6, 7 transfers.
Desmond Ricks is the number 1 cornerback in the country for 2024. Seems like he likes LSU a lot, and Brian Kelly is doing.
He
a
does.
really
It
good
seems like
job.
they've made a nice splash there. But he's at IMG. He's going to have any school he wants to choose from or go visit or do, any of that. So considered he's only going to be a junior. That one has so much time for crazy stuff to play out. But yeah, they seem to be in a good spot early there.
All right, if you have questions for Shea Dixon, just a couple more minutes before we get out of here. Remember, every Wednesday we're recapping. KMC says it's unlimited right now. It's not, but it's very. It feels like it's going to be within a matter of time. If you have any questions, jump inside of the chat before we get out of here this week. Obviously, Shea was saying that there is an event on campus this week. We had Cortez Hankton in studio talking wide receivers and talking recruiting. It seems like he is another in a long list of really good recruiters that Brian Kelly has put together.
Who did you say?
Cortez Hankton.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and we'll see how the receiver class ultimately plays out, but he gets to lend a hand in NOLA with another St. Aug tie, another, a young coach who's kind of is recruited for a big school in Georgia and has been able to, whether it was go back to Louisiana or whether it was just recruit in Georgia around the country, he did it well. Georgia had no shortage of receivers that were talented. So, I think that I like their recruiting staff, at least so far, and I think that we can point to Louisiana and needing to focus there and all that. And I think that happens and is happening and continues. We'll see more of that over time. And I like kind of the mix of how they have some national reach with some guys who can get it done locally.
From that local national appeal, when you're looking at in-state, do you imagine that the recruitment on in-state kids will start to pick up here?
Yeah, and they're the Macho, out of Captain Shreve. There's kind of an event this weekend that's going to be heavy on Louisiana kids. So, I think it'll pick up. I just think and we're not wrong for doing it, but you look at the top 10 guys kind of in the state right now, and some on the back end, they're kind of not, maybe not pressing as hard as others, and it might be, position determined or kind of just where they're at with evals. But then kind of like the top group is a lot of Arch or Eli or, Derrick Williams now. And let's go down. I think there's, then Jaden Osbury, people think he's going to leave the state. Tackett Curtis, people think he's going to leave the state. And you kind of feel like, oh, man, normally LSU gets 9 of the top 10 guys. Right now they are looking at trending to, half of that or, whatever it might be. But I think it's just what it is. I don't think had there not been a regime change or, whatever, that you would have gotten these guys. Like a handful of those guys, Arch, Eli, Tackett, likely Jaden, were looking at leaving the state. Like that's just kind of what they had talked about. They had made no secret about it. So I think they're just kind of, you got to do some adjustment this year. It's year one. You've got a whole new staff. So I think right now you just try to make the best evals you can, and no matter where they're from, go get them. But moving forward, we got to lay a fence and kind of foundation here in Louisiana.
Tackett Curtis committed to USC last week. It feels like J.
Did he? I didn't see that.
Yeah, no, he committed.
See what I'm saying? I'm not working, so
right.
That's awesome.
That
one didn't come across, man.
Didn't get across the newswire to old Shea.
I feel like I'm going to chase that high forever now of big recruiting news happening a week ago that I have no clue what you're talking about.
Tackett Curtis to USC. Now,
yeah, 7-18. God, that was a week ago. All right.
And Jaden Osbury,
I guess I thought that he might go to Ohio State at one point.
Yeah, I think that was the leader. But Jaden Osbury, Notre Dame, kind of
is kind of what the buzz has been.
Yeah.
He plays football at U High. If you don't know, I'm just trying to fill you in. I don't know where you are.
I do.
Right.
That was happening before I shut things down. Yeah.
All right,
that was wild. I don't know if I've ever
come on.
For real.
Really?
I'm glad you told me.
Well, shit. I wish I would have told you live.
We are live.
No. I said I wish I wouldn't have.
Oh no, that's fine.
Yeah, is that cool?
I want people to be a part of that moment.
All right, make sure you follow Shea on Twitter at Shea Dixon. Get your recruiting questions in every Wednesday right here with us on the Jordy Culotta Show. Take some socks, bro, from Dead Soxy. Our friends over there.
Some socks.
Oh, no socks.
Mine not good. No, there's just no CM.
No shows.
I'm gonna take some. Do I have to pick them right now? I want these.
You can. Those are sweet. I kind of like the Tigers. TIGAHS.
Oh, yeah.
Cortez Hankton took a couple of the Burrows this morning. The Athletics are cool, are pretty good fits.
What are the Burrows?
Well, they have a Burrow image on one of the socks.
Oh, I see that. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. All right, have a great day out there. And if you want your socks, remember online, deadsoxy.com. Use the promo code Jordy. Save you up to 35% over there. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Mic'd up this afternoon, 6 o'clock. We are driven and powered by Go Chevrolet every day. Hit that like button, share button, comment button. If you have not subscribed, hit the subscription button. Next Wednesday, we'll be back with you with more recruiting information from our independent insider, Shea Dixon, at Shea Dixon on Twitter.
Y'all will learn something. I'll learn something.
People helping
Everybody
people.
teaching.
Are you
We'll be
going
back
to
with
the
you
Bash
next
this
Wednesday.
weekend? Are you invited?
No.
You don't get to get on the jet ski?
No.
In the LSU Lakes.
Yeah.
If you need to run
Watch
by
the crane.
Yeah, right. If you need to go hang out at the lake, that'll be me in front of Brian Kelly's house taking selfies.
Sir, over here on your left.
Coach,
Is that Shea?
Coach, how are you?
Yeah. All right, enjoy your day. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning.
All right,
7
thanks,
a.m.
guys.
Thank you.